We've been talking about physical weathering, which is also referred to as mechanical weathering, which is the breaking down of rocks by means such as freezing and thawing, abrasion, which is rocks rubbing against each other. And I wanted to show you some rocks that I have in my collection that have been weathered due to abrasion or water. These rocks right here, I gathered from a beach in California. They all have rounded edges, very round edges, and they are very smooth to the touch. These have been weathered due to abrasion, rubbing up against each other, and the power of water, I have another set of rocks, these were found on Lake Michigan. Do you notice again how smooth, how round these rocks are? These have also been weathered due to abrasion and to water. They have no sharp edges. Now we live in Indiana, which has warm summers and cold winters. So I had told you that I was going to freeze a bottle of water and then bring it to school and talk about it. Now, I'll be honest, this is plastic. I was worried about the glass. What do you think would happen if this was a glass bottle? Yeah, the glass would have shattered, absolutely. But I used plastic, and since I've driven here, it has melted. You can see the water has started to melt just a bit. But just like in the video that I asked you to watch yesterday, this bottle has expanded. The water, when it freezes, expands. So it makes it difficult for the bottle to stand up because it's popped out the bottom underneath it because the water that's inside the bottle has expanded and it's bigger than what actually fills the shape of the container. That's the same thing that happens to rocks. When it is cool, it could rain and the water gets into the cracks of the rocks. Then it freezes, the water expands, breaking apart the rock, or in our cases, a lot of times, breaking apart the roads. Now go get your science notebook, get your pencil. We're going to take some notes. All right, I'd like you to write these notes in your science notebook. This is another example of physical weathering, which is especially important in a state like Indiana where we get cold winters. When water freezes, it expands. Expands means it gets bigger. When water in a crack in a rock freezes, it also expands and then breaks the rock into pieces. Go ahead and write that in your notes. You can pause it. Now, this is going to be your homework. Going back to our focus question and answering it. After we have done the investigation, I want you to go back and think, so how do larger rocks break into smaller rocks? Give examples from some of the things that we talked about in these videos. Think about the experiment that I did. Think about some of the rocks that I showed you and the videos that you watched. How do rocks break into smaller rocks? So this would be an example of how I would have answered the focus question. And these notes come directly from the investigation that we've done this week. Small rocks come from bigger rocks breaking apart. Sometimes rocks hit against each other and break into smaller pieces. That is called abrasion. Freezing can also break rocks. Water can get into a rock's cracks and then freeze. Oops, I said freezes. Freeze. When it freezes, it expands and breaks the rock into pieces. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to please answer the focus question. How do rocks break into smaller rocks? That needs to be answered in your science notebook and then take a picture and submit that to your teacher. That is your homework today.